Hello. I hope you're doing okay. If you're not, fix yourself.
What is wrong with...
I'm so kidding. If you're not doing okay, let me know what's happening in the comments and we can discuss and maybe help each other out. Other than that though, wait, that's the outro, not the intro. Hi, how are you? We have another interview. If you can hear anything in the background, it's a wedding that's been going on for like 6 days now. Just ignore it. I don't know what to do about it, okay? Hello, we have another interview, one that I'm really excited about. I'm excited about all of them, honestly, but I'm especially excited about this one because I'm involved in the book. She's an Algerian author. Her name is Nour Kernani. We're going to be discussing her upcoming debut novel. It is called Chronicles of a Kingfisher. Chronicles of a Kingfisher is set in the late 60s, early 70s. It follows Robin and a plethora of other characters, but mainly Robin. A few things before I let you go with the interview. Number one is this is going to be a bit of a new way of presenting these interviews. I opted to remove our faces and the actual video. Well, one, because of the quality, and two, to have more consistent content throughout these interviews. So I also opted to title these interviews something, and I was honestly super conflicted. It was gonna be titled dog-eared and underlined, so every episode is going to be dog-eared and underlined, just discussing stuff with authors and writers and stuff like that. And then that felt too bookish because we don't only talk about books, we also talk about the process of writing, we talk about mental health at times, you know, like many times we've done before. We do tend to expand a lot from our starting point. So then I was gonna call it something that I refuse to tell you because it's so cringy now that I'm thinking about it in hindsight. What is wrong with you, Marie, honestly? So I did opt to call these the backrooms because it's basically the backrooms of our own psyche.
Public school, calm down.
And also the backrooms of the writing process and also the backrooms of the stories themselves. This way we can discuss everything without feeling bound because of a moniker. And another thing, the quality is not that good. These interviews are filmed or recorded via TikTok lives. If you do want to see the actual interviews when they happen, or you want to attend them, so you'd have a chance to ask us and to discuss more with the author and stuff like that on a live chat, then this is my TikTok where I do these interviews. I did try to enhance the sound as best as I could, but for now this is the best that I can do. I hope you can still understand nonetheless. Lastly, the author is Algerian. I myself am Algerian, so words did slip up here and there. A little bit of an Algerian dialect slipped up here and there because we were just comfortable talking about the book. However, I still really hope it remains legible for everyone watching this. I will link everything in the description so you can find the author and the more information about the book. Other than that though, that's it. I do hope you enjoyed the interview. I love you, and I'll see you next video.
Hi,
we managed.
I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe this is finally happening.
Finally. Well, hello everyone.
Well, hello, my name is Nour. I'm an Algerian author.
What has inspired you from the very first to start Chronicles of a Kingfisher?
It's very hard to pin down when it comes to Kingfisher, mostly because it was not a linear process. I put it down so many times, I quit so many times, and I kept going back to it. But there is a moment I keep coming back to. There was this time when I went with my friend of mine to Hippon. I do not know if you know it. It's a Roman ruins that are still here. It's actually my favorite place in Annaba. It's on a steep hill, so you kind of have to walk up there. And at the top of the hill, you could see the sea. And it was a very hot day, so you could smell the scent of the sea as well. And it was a weird feeling. It kind of reminded me of a very specific moment in time. I almost felt like the waves of the beach were crashing inside my head. So when we sat down, me and my friend, I ended up pulling my diary and I wrote in it what would become the chapter waves later on. And that's when I went home and I typed it in a document and I said, I think I know how, I think I want to write the book now, and I think I know how, because before the reason why I couldn't really write it properly was I did not have a vision. But with Waves, I knew what the story was leading up to.
Was the, I suppose, immersion of art and a normal textual narrative always there for you, or did it just happen?
I feel like it was a natural progression because in the first two drafts, I was not thinking about, I was writing a book. I did not think I would be introducing art in it. And by the third draft, I felt like something was missing. It was hard to tell a story about an artist without showing their art. So I ended up incorporating it any way I could.
The whole book is, honestly, I said this so many times, and I was so excited talking about it whenever I make a video about it, because it's built like a collage. Yani there's everything in it. There's art, there is private journal entries, there is a third POV, there's a first POV, there is a PI POV. كاين بزاف وجهات نظر مخلط بزاف, and it still feels balanced and beautiful and natural. So was that ever planned, or did it just happen while writing the story?
It just happened. If you read the very first draft of the book, it's an entirely different book. It's so insanely different.
Did you ever go back and forth, like while these things are happening at face شغل جدد قاعدين غير يزيدوا يبانوا لك while writing the book? Did you ever go back and forth and kind of question the process because it was never fully planned?
I'm kind of not a pantser, I'm a planner through and through, so I put on a structure, I put on my plans, and then I end up like working. I divided the story by parts, and I divided each part by chapters. So what ended up happening with every draft or half a draft is I did not like where the story was going. I ended up just restructuring it.
Do you think the book tackles real life, like gives wisdom or knowledge or something?
Well, yes, that is what it's about. It's about a coming of age story, so it's about growing up broken, sort of, and putting yourself back together as you are becoming an adult. Because when you had a bad childhood, you find yourself not prepared for the real world. What I ended up doing, because a lot of chapters that I wrote at the very beginning were not as good as the ones that I ended up writing around the middle and the end, I went back and rewrote them. I scrapped so many things. There are so many things I left behind. It's almost worth a whole other book. The quality is consistent overall.
I agree. It's consistent, and I think it's not only consistent, but the progression is beautifully done. Speaking of having multiple narrations yet still being organic and stuff like that, one of the point of views واحدة من وجهات النظر, it's a very personal journal entries from Robin's personal journal, you know? And like I told you when we spoke about this before, it feels so human and raw and relatable. Like that's one of the most relatable parts in the book, and I kept going back and forth with it happily, like reading and rereading parts and taking screenshots and sharing them with people because of how absolutely relatable it is. Now I am mentally ill. I do have borderline personality disorder, so I found that chef skills. I found it incredibly amazing. So I want to ask you, how much of yourself did you pour into those parts, if you are willing to share? How much did it take away from you? Because it feels like it would take away from you.
Well, it was very emotionally taxing. It was very hard to write, and not only because of Robin's POV. I think we can agree that there's a lot of parts in the story where different characters are sharing very personal things. In a sense, every character has a part of me, especially Robin and Estelle, but everyone assumes that Robin is my stand-in character in the story because we're both girls, she's the main character, we both have dazzling brown eyes, but it's actually Noah that's kind of me in the story.
Apart from the personal stuff, let's just talk about structure. Did you find it challenging? على خاطرش الكتاب كما قلت لكم كاين عباكم the art in the book. I'm gonna get so excited if I keep talking about it. The art in the book is so freaking good. How did you manage to balance those things, especially the narrative version of it versus the artistic version of it? Because it can lean heavy on one side versus the other easily. So how did you manage to balance those things?
What I did was kind of create a frame to tell the story through. The frame was the forgery plot. Now it's not like a very exciting answer. It's just like you kind of just scrap and write again, scrap and write again. Another thing I did is kind of try to let both bleed into each other. So I sometimes use the recordings to let Eric, speak his mind about things, it's usually Robin's thing.
How did you manage to add so much art yet still not make it feel ornamental? It added so much to the story. It was so heartful. There's one specific piece of art where Robin starts talking to us about her mother and her struggles with her mother and stuff like that, and the, I suppose, emotional depth that the book kept presenting us via Robin and Robin's story. And then there's a sketch of hair being braided, and I still think about it.
I'm very, very proud of that because, first of all, I think it's very important to tell, just so people that read or will read the book, that I have a mother and I love her so much and she is in my life and we are happy. Yeah, my mother is alive and well, and that's her phone I'm using right now, so she's very supportive too. There is this biopic about the frontman of the Beach Boys. It's titled Love and Mercy. It shows the creative process of the Beach Boys when they were making music. It shows his relationship with sounds and music and how he perceives the world, because I feel like creative people have special filters that they see the world through. Brian Wilson, he recalls how his dad used to beat him. And what he recalls is the sound that it made. He kind of says like the tempo of the way that my dad used to beat me. He's like, doof, doof, doof. Seeing the world through the lens of another character who's also an artist. So I wanted to show the reader how Robin thinks, because she sees things fundamentally different. So the way she processes grief, especially, and anxiety is through art. So I wanted to get as close as possible to not only a peek inside her diary, but a peek inside her head. And that was the best way to do it.
Speaking of art and its impact on the book, the novel is fully saturated with not only like drawings and sketches, but every kind of art. Did music come first, or did the art come first, or did the story come first, or did it all just happen all at once?
It's kind of hard to separate them because I feel like art is the catalyst to more art. I feel like right now in the 21st century, everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. There's nothing truly original. I'm just very good at citing my references and citing my sources. So when I make something, I know what inspired that thing, so I name it as like a little wink wink for the girls who get it.
Because every chapter title is so creative, it's so nuanced, it's so idiosyncratic, it's so cool. Like, خطرت معي نحبس, automatically I read the title and I'm like, just one more, why not, you know? How did you curate these references? Because it has to do with literature and music. I mean, we have David Bowie in there, we have Inferno, we have so many cool little things, and some even like hidden, you know? Especially like the poster of Amy Valentine, who's Amy Winehouse. It was so freaking cool.
Yes, I just wanted to pay tribute because she inspires me so much in my life. To me, every reference and chapter title and any little nugget you find along the way is a way for the reader to connect with Robin. We process a lot of our feeling through art. We process a lot of our emotion through movies, especially. A lot of people watch movies to cry. What art does Robin ingest in order to, one, process her feelings, and second, to make her own art? I try to make people understand through the way that she tries to understand herself.
Robin is an artist just like you. She's an amazing artist. How did you manage to overlap her own artistic vision against yours? I mean, she's not like a Xerox copy and paste of you and your art.
One thing that I let myself share with Robin is portraiture. I wanted to expand to push myself outside of my comfort zone. I wanted to try new things, and I wanted to see if I like them or not. And second of all, she's different from me. I'm kind of an amateur artist. She wants to do that for a job. So there had to be more to the symbolism. I guess you could say Robin's art sometimes can be more abstract than mine. I'm not really into abstract art at all, or like symbolism, but I wanted to do something that would reflect how she wants her art to be.
So let's talk, Shreya, about the theme: forgery, authenticity, and the art forgery.
My favorite movie growing up was Ocean's 11.
Ooh,
So
I
there's
love
that.
them so much.
I love the Ocean's trilogy so much.
Me too.
I never understood how, someone could forge a painting and get away with it. I spent way too much time on the Discovery Channel watching documentaries about. I have a lot of useless information. The first time I started to write the book, it was not about forgery, it was about theft. When I started writing more and adjusting more, I felt like forgery fits better just for the theme, and also because it has to do with art more than theft does. The subject itself is niche, like generally in the world and in Algeria specifically. But to me, it was not very niche because I kind of have these hyperfixations. I have like these periods of time where I hyperfixate into specific, very ultra specific things, and I just keep researching. And I watched this series, it's called Fake or Fortune. They find like arts and they try to either prove that they're fake or prove that they're authentic. And I feel like I've been so familiar with it for such a long time that it was easy.
Another topic that was discussed in the book is grief and trauma. Now, I'm on the edge with these subjects. دايما كل ما نتلاقى بكتاب هكذا talks about this, I judge because it's such an important thing. You can't just, if you don't know how to write about these things, just don't, in my opinion. Was that a challenge for you to write, or was it cathartic for you as well?
It's kind of here and there because some were very cathartic to write. I cannot read Mother without crying. I cannot read that chapter out loud. Garden of Statues was very, very cathartic for me to write. I enjoy that so much. But I like to remember stuff, even the bad stuff. I try to chronicle my own life. I try to be the historian of what happens to me. I do not like forgetting, just general.
Let's talk about Robin. Robin is one of the strongest characters that I've read without it being forced. Did you always intend for her to be an absolute dominant powerhouse in the story, or did that happen naturally?
This is the funny part to me because Robin was not the protagonist of Kingfisher. Back before it became Kingfisher, it used to be titled Suncatcher. Knox was the protagonist of the story. And then I quickly realized that he was not very interesting. He was not all that. I do not like this guy. I have no reason to root for him. Let me try to write it through Robin's perspective. I'm going to say something a little bit mean, but at the end of the day, these people who tend to project these very charismatic, big personalities are very empty inside. When I was young, all I wanted to be is like those people. And when I got close to these people, I kind of realized that the palace looks so shiny from outside, from far away. When you get the closer look, it's just a performance to them.
We do have, in my opinion, like I said, a counterpoint of this contemporary romance that we're seeing with Eric. We have the purity of Noah, and then we have Knox, who served, in my opinion, as a sort of kind of shadow in the background, which is why Robin got to be such a dominant, beautifully done, dominant character. How did you approach writing Knox?
Knox, the name starts KN, just like me, Kernani Nour, because I like putting my initials in characters that represents facets of me. The facet that Knox presents is not a facet I like about myself. It's a facet that I do not like about myself. So it was kind of hard to just sit in an uncomfortable space with the parts of yourself that you kind of despise,
Yeah.
to say the least. I feel like something a lot of people do not get about generally bad people. I've had so many fights about this. It's that they know what they are doing to you, and they are taking advantage of the fact that they are taking advantage of your empathy, and they're taking advantage of your naivete. And the more you believe in them, the more bad things they are gonna do to you, because they know what they are doing. Nox and Robin are very similar, and especially in them being artists and the way that they think and the way that they see the world. Nox sees the world in a very, very, very similar way to how Robin does. She kind of represents parts of himself that he does not like, and he ends up punishing her for it, sometimes on purpose, but not always. I think the best relationships serve as mirrors to facets of ourselves we might not be able to see when we're alone. Robin, who is too much like him, is the biggest, most revealing mirror Nox has to face. He can't hide from the clarity she brings, so all his self-hate surfaces, and he ends up punishing her for it. He can't love her, he can't be more like her, he can't absorb her acceptance of him, for himself. Yeah, I kind of was sold on the idea when I sat down and I said, if one person picks it up and they can enjoy it and they can see themselves through it, if one person gets something out of the book, then it's worth putting it out there. And yeah.
I got so much, and so many people it's such a needed thing to talk about mental health and grief and this and that. It's needed in these communities. في المجتمع تاعنا نسحقوهم.
We live in a very hostile society. Everyone is. I tell them أعداء النجاح, because they do not want you to do anything. They do not tell you to do something. They tell you to do nothing. If you do, they will find the reason to not do anything. But what will you do if you do nothing? That was a lot of words.
Oftentimes people push you to not do things, or they would not support you, because if you do, they would be alone in that little bubble of them not doing anything.
We really are in desperate need for conversation in this country. I really like it when people just listen. Not to respond, but to just listen.
Do you see yourself continuing to blend art and fiction into your future projects? Is there a one-time thing?
It will totally depend on the project. Doing a picture book for children has been my dream for so long. I always wanted to make one for my sister, especially. I have two younger sisters. I want to make some things for them. And I might do short stories that are just prose.
What surprised you the most about yourself while writing the whole book, now that you've finished it and you're in the publishing process?
So you have to understand something, that I doubted myself every single step of the way. I always thought I'm gonna be one of those people who will always talk about their dreams. I'm gonna write, I'm gonna go, and then wake up one day when I'm 50 and I have done nothing. And then I thought, that's a horrible way to live, and I have to do something about it someday,
I'm so glad you pushed through it, because you ended up making a beautiful thing. Lastly, right, what would you hope readers would take away from the book? Finishing the book, closing it, putting it back on the shelves. What would you hope they would take away from it?
There is this song titled, the Song of Achilles. There's a lyric that says, it's more courageous to overcome. And I end my book in a statement that's similar to that. That's what I want I want that line to stick inside someone's head. I want them to know that it is more brave, you have more integrity, you will be strong, you can overcome things, and you will, and it's better if you do. The other side is so much better than than giving up, than falling behind. I know it can be hard, and we all can relate to this, of the feeling of wanting to give up, of saying, this is it, I'm done, this is my life now, I'm a failure, I'm damaged goods, I cannot move forward. that is wrong. That's just like, it's so objectively wrong too. We are self-healing. When you get injured, your body heals itself. If we cut a part of your liver, it grows back. Not everything grows back, but it has never stopped anyone. It's not some external thing that comes to you. Motivation is not external, and the will to live is not external. These are very much innate things. And I want you always to remember that you have the power inside yourself to be better and to do better.